in the first 20 to 30 minutes, we're thinking we'll give y'all a brief overview of the programs and some updates around the programs to kind of hopefully answer a lot of your questions before you have to ask them. And then after that, we'll open up the floor for any unanswered questions that y'all might have, and we're happy to answer them until 3 o'clock. So yeah, that's the plan. So Eric, I will go ahead and pass it back to you here.
Yeah, so I'm just going to real kind of quickly look over just a few graphics here, just kind of illustrating the different divisions that we have, so to speak. I guess it's really important to just communicate here that the kind of the entire premise of our minister program is to increase accessibility and safety, right? You all surely see within Sanctuary that we have a real desire to see as many people have safe, supported, sincere experiences with this sacrament as much as they need. This is not something that is a once and done. This is part of a lifelong process, or can be. And that's what we really hope that our minister programs kind of embody that. You see that we have this myself ministry, which is, as I'm making some assumptions, but I'll give some explanation here. Myself is geared just towards learning to administer the sacrament unto yourself, because first and foremost, we are our own healers. That happens in the context of community and through reflection and cooperation with others, but really highlighting that personal responsibility and personal empowerment with the myself ordination, which I believe is pretty unique. I don't know, to be a minister unto yourself first and foremost. I don't know where else I've ever heard that spoken of. So then the friends and family is geared towards, as it sounds, to taking that the love for this work, the understanding of the value for this work, and the complexity of this work into our friends and family. And so it's really important at this stage in someone's journey. It feels really important to remind ourselves that in traditional cultures where psychedelics were integrated into the community, that it's in particularly in those cultures, it was standard practice that someone had many years working as an apprentice or an adjunct before they were authorized to go out and administer these sacred medicines. It wasn't for anybody and everybody to do. And so one of the things that people very often see as they go through this journey is that initially I want to share this with everybody. This is so powerful. It's been so powerful for me. And then as you start to do that and you begin to see how challenging it can be and how much of an ongoing responsibility. Always want to try. It's like this is another reason why the community is so crucial, um, because as you all know, these experiences continue to unfold, and when we hold space for someone, that responsibility to them does not end like after the second integration session or whatever. So really, really trying to help folks use this as an opportunity to grow in their skill and experience with the sacrament, to understand for themselves, is this something that I really want to have as a vocation, like you may feel early on, and then having the community for ongoing integration and support for yourself as a minister, because there's a whole lot that you have to unpack when you're holding space, particularly if it's any kind of regularity. And the only other thing that I want to make note of in this um, demarcation or this level of ordination is that this is really intended to be, how do I say it? Like I said, an ongoing experiential training, which our belief is that it is to be separate from financial compensation. This is the level where we really want people to understand that if you're operating at a friends and family level, that this is still an apprenticeship of sorts. Now, there are opportunities, and we are working on ways to have more direct, quote, apprenticeships where you might work more closely with myself or other seasoned ministers to then expand your reach beyond just your friends and family. But I cannot overstate how much intention it really requires, it's so easy when people are coming into this work to think, okay, so I give some mushrooms to my people, they feel better, and we all keep on moving. And most of the time that's the case, but very often, there is a need for extended support and real depth of knowledge here. So I'm just really trying to impress, maybe something that we haven't spoken real directly to as time in the past, is how this friends and family ordination really is intended to be an ongoing practice, not a pathway to employment, right? There are avenues for that as time goes on, but it really sincerely takes, I believe, several years of consistent sacrament administration before you really are in a place where like that responsibility is, you're ready for that responsibility for most people, and B, where for most people to really understand, is this something they want to devote their lives to, which sacred passage is kind of a big part of that. um, Sacred Passage is just the beginning of what is going to be our expanded ministry. So, right now, Sacred Passage is focused, as many of you probably know, on end of life ceremonies. Debbie, um, why am I blanking on Debbie's last name?
Fierce.
Pierce, has created a pretty awesome program around this whole rite of passage, this specific period in someone's life. She is a trained death doula. She's done quite a few um, death processes with folks, and she's really good at it. She has a great heart, and she's just a wonderful creative soul who's brought a lot to this program. It is intended to be a kind of an add-on after friends and family, and for and I won't get too deep in the weeds here, but the idea with Sacred Passage, even still, for most people, unless they move on to this more general ministership, is to be administering to their friends and family. We're really, it's going to be really important as we grow rapidly, you all. It may not seem like it as in the inside, but we're actually growing really quickly. And for this to expand safely and protect the people that we are of service to and our community at large, is really incumbent upon all of us to move slowly with this work and to really be patient and understand that you're opening up doors here. This is very serious work. Sacred Passage is going to eventually expand into basically all rites of passage. We've been looking at this from, from stepping into adulthood all the way to the end of life. And we expect this to be a really vibrant and beautiful ministry of Sanctuary overall. So I think that's a good enough high level overview, Courtney. These are just some of the details as to when the calls are and what that schedule looks like for the myself minister. This is Mondays at 6 to 7:30. So for all of our minister calls, we've extended the time. It's gone, instead of an hour, we're doing an hour and a half now. And we are also adding on integration calls to both the myself and friends and family. The myself right now is going to be 2 weeks out of the month, bi-weekly. You can see that, second and fourth Thursdays, 6 to 7:30. Those are going to be hosted by Courtney and Amy. And that's going to be an opportunity for individuals to come and help process their own personal experiences, right? So there is an enormous value in continuing those conversations and hearing from other people and their experiences. So we are really confident this is going to be a value add that a lot of people have been looking for. And we have the chapters here just listed. So taking sacrament seriously, pharmacology, a little history, basics of set and setting. This always interesting topic of time in the sacrament space, forms of processing and why, purging is not puking, or how come it's good to writhe and sweat and moan and groan for 4 hours. Continuous improvement, which is basically just a way to continue, improving the quality of our lives based on the work itself. So ongoing integration. And then chapter 8, a little more detailed tools for integration. So those last two chapters are focused on integration, and they're really intended to kind of, on the way out, really impress upon folks the importance of not just talking about our experiences, but living integration. So really, really excited about the bringing more integration into our courses, particularly. Very excited about this. Just been for since our inception, we have been trying to handle cultivation stuff internally. Um, I felt like it was my responsibility to teach people to grow mushrooms, and well, I can't do everything, come to find out. And as we've tried to have more cultivators in our community share this knowledge, it has, for one reason or another, just kind of not worked out. People are busy, it's not what they're doing with their lives necessarily. So we just today arranged a really incredible partnership and like deal, man, with Fungi Academy. So Fungi Academy these guys are incredible. Their website, fungiacademy.com. They're down in Guatemala. I've been friends with the owner, Jasper, for several years. Really neat guy from the Netherlands who, the mushrooms told him to move to Guatemala and start a farm and an education center, and he did, and it's actually thriving. And they have, I had it up, but they've got something like 35 on-demand courses in their portal. Inside of those trainings, there are access points for substrate producers, for spores. He's got my live mycelium, like it's got everything that we need for cultivation in-house, and that's what they do full time, and they do it really well. So super excited about working with them. Also, what Jasper has offered to do as well is once a month he's going to come and do a live Q&A for anybody that is signed up for the courses. So it's a real value add. If you don't know anything about growing mushrooms, it's going to be the resource for everything. There are so many different growing techniques and so many different species and strains, and all of that is broken down in their excellent videos. So I am super excited because this has just solved an ongoing problem in a much better way than we could have ever done so ourselves. So it's a little bit of an add-on. Like I said, it's $150, but it's a one-time thing. You'll have lifetime access to all those videos and those calls. And we're probably going to be having some ongoing partnerships between their facilities. So maybe we'll even have some retreats to Guatemala at some point. So yeah, no, really, this is actually a really big deal. So all that stuff will be included in your membership portal, and you'll see where to sign up for those courses if you choose to do so. Friends and family, these calls are going to be Tuesday I thought this was, oh no, that's right. Friends and family, we're doing an hour here because right now those are the lowest attended calls as they need. Then we will open those calls up to 7:30. And then the integration for those calls is going to be just once a month right now, third Thursday, 6 to 7:30. And the specific intention for that integration call is for ministers to come and get feedback on ceremonies that they have held, right? This is not integrating your experiences. Trust me, we learn and experience so much more as ministers and facilitators to others, and there will be so many questions. So as the need increases, then we'll increase the number of calls with this as well, I suppose. But right now, it looks like once a month will probably serve the need there. And just a little bit of an overview of that. So it starts with group psychedelic experience or the group experience, which is significantly different than a solo experience. Core skills, which I like to call psychedelic samurai. Kind of give you an idea of what that looks like. Just overviewing preparation, orientation, and integration, the importance of diversity and the reality that there is always diversity, whether we see it or not. Boundaries, covering that big, big topic. Rules, quote, rules. If you know me, then you know I only have one rule, but we'll leave that for the further discussion. The shamanic, supernatural, psychic. This is what most people really enjoy this chapter because it's not often talked about in psychedelic education, though it is a really important part. And then harm reduction, crisis management. So really, again, all of this is top level stuff, you all. The real work is in holding space and doing, I don't want to say doing time, but being in ceremony with the mushroom and others. So really, what we really seek to create is a supportive community where you can slowly move into your practice step by step, bring it back into community, get feedback and a deeper understanding, and just get better as time goes on through doing the work. And the last one here is Sacred Passage, Monday 6 to 7:30, and the integration for that is first Thursday 6 to 7:30. This can be an intense one. When end of life is some of the most powerful work that I've done in the psychedelic field. And it it requires and deserves a real reverence, um, and space to sit with the big emotions that are very often present for everybody involved. So this is to my knowledge, there's nothing like this happening outside of Sanctuary, and I believe this is probably one of, if not the most important ministries of Sanctuary right now. Um, so and again, just to kind of like reiterate, if it wasn't said or wasn't apparent, that there is a succession of ordination here. We do ask that folks kind of go through a process of learning to work with the mushrooms themselves, then learning to kind of administer that out to their close loved ones, and then maybe expanding that reach into um, more challenging situations with the end of life. So there is a sequence of ordinations here to get to each level. Hope that makes sense. Oh, here's her topics. Yeah. So this is a 4-week course that I have yet to take. Amy and Courtney, I think, have taken it. Making Death Sacred, Physical Implications of the Disease Process, from Interest to Engagement and the Way Home. So Debbie covers topics that like I have no knowledge on, the physical implications of the disease process. And this is all a lot of stuff that I'm really looking forward to. Hopefully this next round or the one after, getting to take this myself. All right, and then we got a little bit of a nice infographic that Courtney made here that can kind of give us an overview of what each ordination, uh, I hesitate to say permits, but we'll just kind of, for simplicity purpose, say that. So if you are just a member, I keep meaning to ask, I don't know, the official member just bugs me. Like, you're a member, you're a member. Anyway, see this, everybody's on the Discord server. Everybody gets access to the sacred circles. Um, the celebrations, the ceremonies, we are moving to these being for specifically for folks who have been through the minister programs. So even if it's just myself, and the reason we do that is for a number of reasons. I don't know if it's worth me going into right now. Yes, okay. Um, so we are not a service provider. We are a community of peer support. We are people that love each other and are just trying to walk each other home. Nobody here knows any more than anybody else. And so when we were doing these, like as Sanctuary was like, ah, be a member, get a ceremony, just come and be a member, then you just find out that just creates this kind of like people seeking a service. And that's not what we want. That's not what we're about. Um, And there's also an enormous value in the sense of safety and preparation that comes with having a community participation beforehand, right? Like, yes, there are incredible things that come out of just like strangers coming together in a well-structured space with someone who is experienced, but it's so much more powerful just in coming to Sunday services, just to come. And then you start to think about coming into these minister courses where you really get to know people and understand why they're approaching this. It just diffuses so much anxiety. It facilitates so much bonding pre prior to the ceremony that you get exponential benefit out of the ceremony work. And then when it comes to the integration, you've already got people that you have trusted with, and you have, some bonds that you feel more safe and able to talk about your experiences. So we know that's incredibly valuable. And it's really important. And it's also important to communicate that we do offer quite a few scholarships, so we don't want financial accessibility to be a deal breaker for anybody. We've had a number of people who have attended our ceremonies for our minister trainings for no cost at all. Gifting ceremony to loved ones, where you can just kind of see here anything ceremony or sacrament related um, is kind of at the individual's own behest when they are a member, not going through any of the minister programs. Once you've gone through the myself minister, well, then you have all those previous things, plus the ability to attend the celebrations or other ceremonies. This is not the whole gifting sacrament to loved ones and all that. I don't even want to get into that right now. It's a bit of a handful to kind of work through. And then you can see the friends and family stuff and all that. Friends and family opens up all of the above, plus the friends and family content. And then we do move into this gifting sacrament. So this is another problem or challenge that Sanctuary has been trying to solve for our community. First and foremost, we really, really want everybody to be empowered to grow their own mushrooms. And the main reason for that is I promise you, after 25 years of this work, the one of the most impactful aspects of working with the sacrament has been cultivating it. Even if it is just as simple as shooting some spores in a pre-made bag and nurturing that process through completion, this whole thing, you all, is about context. It's all, and the context of growing that sacrament and then consuming that sacrament is profound. Um, and so that's the first thing. We really want people to learn to grow their own, and that's why we're working with Fungi Academy. After that, recognize that that's for some people, that's just not a thing. It's just not a possibility. Circumstances dictate, and that's okay. And so, what we're trying to do is to create a network of all of us who are willing to gift sacrament to those who can't cultivate, right? So, um, going through these minister programs, being in these cohorts with each other, gaining trust and really learning who it is that you're working with and seeing them consistently. Um, for me, that is really all I need to gift sacrament to someone that I've seen them go through the training processes. I understand their intentions, their motivations, their safety protocol, and and so it's like it's so awesome, I feel like, to be able to gift sacrament out. And it's something that I do as a minister, but Sanctuary does not necessarily do as an organization right now because we just haven't had somebody that can do it, right? So Eric, in the last whatever month, has sent out, I don't know, 3 or 4 packages of sacrament to people that have requested it, right? That just asked me. Um, and I know other Sanctuary members who are gifting sacrament to their fellow ministers as well, right? So, but at the friends and family level is when we see that people have been through enough conversations and training that we feel safe with that person having the ability to administer sacrament to others. We've kind of vetted everybody through in terms of like, we trust who you are and what you say about yourself. And so um, I think that kind of, I can go way off in the weeds there, but this is where we start to feel really comfortable saying, yeah, I know you long enough and I trust your intentions and motivations. I'm happy to send you 14 or 28 grams of psilocybin. And then Sacred Passage Minister is all of the above, and then even steps into holding space for folks in rites of passage right now, just being end of life. But really excited about where that's going to go. So I hope that I didn't confuse you more in what I just said. That's always possible when I speak. Fortunately, we have Courtney's visual here. I think other than so, Courtney, you can share the details on this, what the registration and all that is, and then we can get into the questions.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Eric. You're doing great. It's a lot of information to cover. So really appreciate you giving it your best. So the application deadline was Sunday to submit your application for this cohort, this January cohort, which is beginning next week. If you have already submitted your application for this upcoming cohort, you have until Thursday night at midnight to complete your registration and pay. If you didn't submit your application for this cohort and are really here to learn about future cohorts, then you can go ahead and submit your application anytime. It doesn't commit you to go through the cohorts, but it does let our ministership admin let people know about the enrollment deadlines for whoever has submitted an application. So we have 4 total cohorts this year. Sacred Passage doesn't begin until April. So this upcoming January cohort is just for the Myself Minister program and the Friends and Family Minister program, with Sacred Passage beginning in April. And do keep in mind, if you're interested in Sacred Passage, then you must be an ordained Friends and Family Minister to be eligible to go through that program. So I think that's all. We have a ton of, as far as the little brief overview goes, we have a lot of FAQs as well. Just to keep in mind after this call, if you have more questions, they might be covered in our FAQ section on the minister page. So you can go to sanctuary.org and the drop-down menu there to find our minister programs and tons of info. And you can, of course, always just send us an email at info@sanctuary.org or shoot us a Discord message. That works too. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up to the Q&A now. And I'll stop my share. All right, yeah, so we have until 3 o'clock. We'd love to hear y'all's questions. You can raise your hand if you have questions.
I have a question.
Sure. Hey, Julie.
Hi. Just about the financials of it, like as far as the cost of the courses, as far as sharing the mushroom with other people, also the Sacred Passage, is what the cost is to the person. So just kind of across the board.
Sure. Yep. So our Myself Minister program is $700. We have a payment plan is available as well. And we have scholarship application periods as well, where for every 4 folks that pay in full, we're able to offer 2 50% off rates. So that's the Myself Minister program. Friends and Family is $850, and Sacred Passage is $350. And with that being said, one of our main goals, as you'll see in our upcoming annual review presentation we're giving next month, is to, as our fundraising increases for our community, our main priority is to reduce the cost of our minister programs, because they are so pivotal to our community and what we're doing, and becoming more and more important. So as we can get more fundraising efforts going, which is going to take our community as a whole to help with that, we'll be able to shift the costs of the minister programs to make them more accessible, which we're really looking forward to as well. Did that cover your question about?
Yeah, and then just the other part was sharing the mushroom. Like, is it donation based? Is it like, is there a recommendation? I mean, what about that?
Yes, absolutely. We encourage, we ask that all of our ministers that are sharing the mushroom are gifting. Yes, that is absolutely our recommendation for several reasons. One of which is just for the reasons of legality. Just to look at that alone, once you attach money transactions to sacrament, you run into a lot of considerations and a lot of responsibility to consider. So we say, just why not just rule that out and gift? And that really is how we feel to be the sacredness that like maintains the sacredness of it. Yeah, so even for that reason alone, just to keep it a sacred exchange, really feeling that those who you are gifting and exchanging with is coming from that place of wanting to share and having a trusting relationship. We feel like that's of the utmost importance
One
as
of
well.
the early on in our attempts to have a centralized kind of distribution, donation, sacrament request was, you know, having ministers who were appointed or who were happy to share, having individuals requesting like a half a pound of mushrooms, right? And so like it's really for everybody to have skin in the game here as well is really important, and understand that this is not, we're not a drug culture, right? Like this is an incredible gift from nature for us. And the gift that we have to be able to use this in a protected manner like we do from Sanctuary is just, yeah, it's just part of who we are. And so we really want that to be central to the mushroom. Do you have a question, Don?
Did that help,
Oh, I'm sorry,
Julie?
go
I
ahead.
just want to make sure
Yeah.
we covered. Okay. Okay, cool. Great. Hey, Don.
Hi. So maybe you've already said something about this, but like, do you have to be a friends and family, have completed the friends and family minister program in order for Sanctuary to gift me mushrooms to then be able to administer to friends and family if I'm
So
not growing them?
So Sanctuary proper is not gifting mushrooms out right now. We don't, the organization doesn't have the capacity to grow for all of the people that would request. So like Eric has had, like I found all kinds of ovoids, right? And I've been gifting them out to members that have requested of me. All of those members that have requested and that I have gifted to have been friends and family ministers. That's the level of scrutiny that I want when I'm giving mushrooms to someone. Because none, while we have a lot of protection, none of this is without risk completely, right? And so it is really important for us to be aware. And I don't want anybody, I don't want you, Dawn, asking someone that is, not good vibes even for mushrooms, right? So friends and family ministers gifting to other friends and family ministers is kind of the baseline that we've set there. And then with my self ministers, I mean, everybody has the opportunity to do the cultivation. Now we're not here policing anybody. We're not telling you like this is what you have to do. We're telling you this is our recommendation for the most safety, the most coverage for everybody involved, right? But if there was a myself minister that said that you knew for a long time and they just never chose to go any further and they were growing and you decided to get mushrooms from them, like we can't tell you not to do that. We're just going to continue to tell you what we understand through all of our conversations with attorneys, our exploration of the RFRAs and all that, which is ongoing. We're constantly, you know, lined into that. We're going to continue to really provide you with the best options to keep everybody safe and provided for. Does that make sense?
So the best options is contacting another myself minister if I want mushrooms to administer to myself.
A friends and family minister.
A
Or
friends and family minister for myself.
Mm-hmm. Yes, if you
For
are
just me, not
if
for
you're
yeah.
if you
Okay.
are if you're a myself minister like
I
that,
am.
then the two options would be to get a grow kit and grow your own, right? Or network within the community of people like, I don't know, I know this one guy that knows you pretty well and he's a friends and family minister, and he probably, if you requested him like, 7 grams or something, he probably would help you out there because he knows you really
Oh,
well. So
then what
that's
is
just kind of right?
Yeah, it's kind of it's such a good question, Dawn. Thank you so much for asking this question, because we're continuing to navigate this landscape of figuring out how we as a collective organization can continue to do the safest, most responsible thing on behalf of our entire organization. And so figuring out channels in which to help connect our ministers to know, like, who is growing mushrooms right now? Who has mushrooms to gift me?
Right.
Like, I don't know. I'd have to, ask around and figure out. And we acknowledge and recognize that's a process. And it requires being able to do that kind of networking. And it's just one of many reasons we started this sacred circles for our membership. The cohorts that we just had that wrapped up in December, where we hope that continues to evolve into really getting to know all these people in our community, so you can have an ongoing conversation with them, connect with them in different ways, and ask questions like, does anybody have any sacrament they're able and want to gift me right now? But it does require getting to know people within our community to do that. And we're working on different ways to better stay in touch with people in our organization and finding people local to you. So we're in process of developing a much easier to navigate membership directory, which we're really excited about. And within that, the idea is to have some kind of safe, discreet way to know who has sacrament they're able to gift. But that takes some figuring out. So we're in process of doing that, though. So do you understand a little bit better?
Perfectly. Thank you
Okay.
so much. Between both you and Eric,
Great.
I'm good. Thank you so much.
Awesome. I know some people have their hands up, but did you have a follow-up question, Daniel?
Me? No, it was
Yes.
a different question.
Oh, okay. Do you mind? So people have their hands up, so I'm going to go ahead and get them. I think, John, were you next? Yes.
I guess I'll be
Johnny?
quick. Yeah. Okay. So it's not necessary for us to consume the sacrament during the myself ministry program.
No.
Okay.
It's not necessary. No.
Okay. Second question is about the payment. I have we most of us, I don't know if we're paying for the monthly thing, which you're glad to do. That's already a way to pay. Can you use that payment method for the $700? Or how do we pay you? This is my question.
Did you fill out an application, Johnny?
Yeah, I did all that finally. The third time it went through.
That's great.
I got a confirmation and I've been in touch. I just wrote Athena back. So
okay.
Hopefully it worked this time.
Athena, so great question. Thank you, Johnny. If you're asking, I'm sure somebody else is wondering too. So once you submit an application, which again, the last day to do that for this cohort starting next week, the last day to submit an application was Sunday. But if you did that and you just need to complete your registration and pay, Athena will email you if she hasn't already with links to complete your registration. So if you just did that today, Johnny, or yesterday, then she might be emailing you today or tomorrow.
Okay.
But I'll follow up with you after the call if you're not.
All right, she emailed. Yeah, she did.
Okay.
I just thought, anyway, okay.
Great. Go, Athena, go.
That's it. Thank you.
All right. Awesome. Yeah. Amber.
Hey, Courtney.
Hey.
Question about scheduling. So one of the most appealing aspects of this whole thing to me is building that sense of community and getting to know the cohort and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, Mondays are like the one night a week I have very little flexibility. Will meeting times like change with different cohorts, or is that always going to be consistent and maybe I just need to barrel through somehow?
Yeah, great question. We once we have some other facilitators who we feel great about leading the courses, we'll probably add another call option. So until then, the call options are the same as they are now for each program. This is one reason we added the integration call for the programs, is to have another call option for people, although the topic is different. It's a different focus of the call. It would still be an opportunity to experientially be with the other people in your cohort if you can't make the course specific call. So we record all of the course calls covering the content for each week. And for each call, there's a form that we have right there in the program where you can submit a question for the call for Eric or Debbie to answer. And then you have the call recordings. Although, well, no, that's not the case. If you miss, so yeah, if you miss more than 4 calls, we ask that you listen to the recordings and submit a paragraph summary of the recording in order to be eligible for ordination. So it's, attendance isn't required to become ordained, although we obviously highly encourage it for anybody who can make the calls to definitely do it. But if you can't, watch the recording, submit a paragraph summary for at least half the calls that you miss, and you can be eligible to be ordained. But yes, there's that integration call option as well.
That's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for asking. Hey, Emily.
Hey,
Hi.
I was wondering, and I don't know, you may have covered this. Is it like a progression of classes? So you start with the myself and then you progress to, so I couldn't go straight to like the end. I would do
That's
that
right.
in a progression.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the whole idea being that we are intentionally building our practice for ourselves first, even if you have an existing practice, getting linked in with our other community of ministers, having that cohort, and having those really important conversations about our own practice before going into holding space for other people with the friends and family and rites of passage programs.
Okay.
Yes.
And the financial part of it, is that all available like on your website if I wanted to go back? Because there's like a monthly membership fee as well, I think, right? And then like
Yes.
bulk then for each class is how it would work.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah. So all the pricing info is on the minister program page, which you can look at from our website.
Okay.
Real
Great.
quick, I'm sorry. So we did, yeah, I remember getting a notice saying that the minimum of monthly should be 35.
No, you might be thinking of, if you want to, so thanks for asking. If you want to continue to have access as a myself minister, if you want to continue to have access to the integration calls 2 times a month, then you can have your membership be replaced. You can pay a what's called a ministry membership, which is changing your membership from whatever you may be donating, $10, $20, $30 to $35 a month. And then you can continue to have access to those 2 integration calls every month and the course calls if you wanted to jump in on those as well.
Thanks.
Yeah. Hey, Randy.
Hey, let me know if this is outside the scope of this meeting, but I'm wondering as we progress in the friends and family, to what extent is it important or desirable or whatever to standardize the psilocybin dose, to standardize it? They come in different strains. Right now it's kind of like, well, let's try 2 grams of this, see what it's like. And it's kind of trial and error. But I wonder if there is a standardization method where we get a certain amount of psilocybin, or is that not really important?
Eric, take it away.
Wow. Standardization of psilocybin. Try as you might. This is really one of the reasons why staying active in this work is so important, because it's very easy to assume that there is a kind of linear trajectory for most people as they work with the sacrament. And for most people there is, but there are so many instances where the template just does not work, where the graph goes off the map unexpectedly. And so as I work with people in terms of sacrament, like learning the nuances of administering sacrament, I put away numbers, I put away strains, I'm intuitively working with someone right there. And I just could not even begin to tell you the number of times that I've seen a 3-gram dose on the same person in the same circumstances be 3 times stronger than a 5-gram dose, right? So yeah, it'd be nice if that was the case, but one of the, I had the great luxury again of all the work in Jamaica and what we did there in an attempt to standardize and to, in terms of potency of the mushrooms, it was helpful, but there were a lot of reasons that it was unhelpful, which was taking, 2 pounds of mushrooms, pulverizing it, powdering it, encapsulating it. And even that, which gives you the most homogeneous, standardized mixture, the variability in responses from the same person with the same or smaller doses it's just so wide ranging that I feel like anytime someone like that's kind of an indication, and I don't mean this in any derogatory way, but whenever someone is like, oh, the standard dosing, or oh, this is your body weight, and oh, I'm just like, that person actually doesn't really have a real working knowledge of psilocybin. And again, that's not to be, down talking to anybody whatsoever. The beauty of this work is that the more you do it, the more you understand that you have no idea what's going on, and it's one big beautiful mystery. So I don't know if that does that
Kind of
answer.
good it's that way too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I like it personally.
I
Well,
was actually kind of laughing, Randy, as I was just like proofing all the workbook material on the programs the other day, and I was looking at this dosing chart that we have. And I was laughing at it because although it is helpful as a frame of reference, if you have no reference, to say like, okay, 0.5 gram, you might expect like this level of intensity, or 1 gram or 5 grams. And then I was just in my head hearing all the people that are like, why am I so different than this dosing chart over here, this one over here? So
I mean, again,
such a good question.
Yeah, there's it's so beautiful. It's so amazing.
all right, that's very helpful. And it rivals my experience too. So it verifies it. Thanks.
Nice.
6 grams, just a little freebie for anybody out there. 6 grams is the most dangerous dose you can administer to anybody. I don't know why, but I have seen more 6-gram doses go completely off the rails than anything. Weird.
That's where, Amy, you got any comment on that with numerology?
Is it better if you go to 8?
I mean, I have seen 8s be so much. It's weird. 6 grams for white men between 25 and 35. It's dangerous territory. I don't know why, but
You're gonna need to add that to the chart.
So Courtney,
have that on the chart.
six is family. All the past history or your yeah.
There we go.
So I was told to change that into 222, which is like working together in partnership. Not
Okay.
but 6 is family, so that could be good too.
Interesting. Doesn't apply to us. We're not white men between the ages of 25 and 35
This
or
is
whatever it was. Okay, so Brian asked a great question in the chat, which Brian, you said I could answer here. So basically around the fact that some people coming into these courses don't have any psychedelic experience at all. We've had plenty of people who've come into our Myself Minister program wanting to go into this practice very intentionally and safely and be as educated and supported as possible before having an experience. So yes, that is absolutely something I would say this course could be for you if you don't have any psychedelic experience at all and want to just go about it in a safe and responsible way.
Well, and one thing I wanted to say about dosing too is if this is an ongoing practice that's part of your cultural, everything you're doing in your life, then you don't have to do a gigantic one your first time. You have a chance to experience with different doses over your lifetime of practicing with it.
Yeah, we definitely encourage people to dip their toes in. As much as I love and appreciate this incredible gift of nature, it deserves incredible respect.
Absolutely. And another question, after the completion of the course, will I have access to the modules if I wish to review them in the future? Yes. The answer is yes.
We're actually working on a little summary workbook too that people can have. I'd like to see like a little flip book or something that people wanted. They could have like an in pocket version.
Yeah, we have quite a few projects in the works, and a big project that we're prioritizing this year is a Friends and Family Minister playbook, which outlines, kind of gives you a map for how-tos. I want to do a small group ceremony with the people really close to me in my area. How do I go about that? And kind of mapping out general recommendations and considerations. So just a playbook that's outlining different scenarios to help our friends and family ministers. So really looking forward to that. Michael, hey.
Bean man.
Hey there. So I have a really trivial question. It's actually just a scheduling question because I think I was a bit confused looking at the website. So for friends and family, it's Tuesdays from 6 to 7, starting on the 28th for 8 Tuesdays. So that was straightforward. But there's also this Thursday call, and I thought I saw in one place that there's a Thursday call this Thursday that I could join. But otherwise, it's the third Thursday of every month, which I assume would be February and March during the time of the friends and family. That's what I was just unclear about. It was the Thursday call.
Yeah. Yes. So we did send out an email to everyone with the Friends and Family Minister program, letting them know that we have. I'll share candidly that we meant to send that email out only to those who have been ordained as a friend and family minister, that we have our first integration focused call this Thursday for those friends and family ministers who want to participate in the call to kind of like just clear up any confusion. Yeah. But the email went out to everyone who's paid for the Friends and Family course. So even if you haven't been through it yet, you got that email and you are welcome to attend. You are absolutely welcome to attend that call. But I can see how it'd be confusing for you to see that it starts next week and also that there's an integration call happening in 2 days. so you are definitely welcome.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But the intention was sort of maybe after you'd already completed it or were in it or.
No, not necessarily. We just wanted to open up that call to all of our ordained ministers and let them know you've been through the program. We're offering this call now. You can come, you can continue to come to the integration calls, and we're just going to open it up to y'all to begin with.
And Michael wasn't here earlier when we just specifically said that call is for, and like all friends and family ministers are welcome to come, but what we will be focusing on is the facilitation, integrating the facilitation, right? So it's not going to be about your mushroom trip. It's going to be about you holding space for somebody else and what you learn from that, what we need, what more there is to learn and such. Does it make sense?
Yeah, and that was my next question was what is that call about? So that's perfect, actually. Yeah.
Cool. But yeah,
So-
even if you
and-
haven't held space for anybody, it would be very beneficial as a friends and family minister to sit in on.
And I mean,
right.
if you notice, there's a myself integration call on the first and third Thursday. I think it was first and third, second and fourth. Anyway, each one of the Thursdays there's a rotation. If it's myself, friends and family, myself, sacred passage, myself. So you can have an integration practice with your community. It just has a different focus week over week, which I think is significant. Yeah. So just want to make sure you notice that it's not that it's like an ongoing every Thursday. There's something if you're at that level that you could be at any of those.
Yes. So the myself minister integration calls will be focused on, as we already said, personal integration and connecting with other myself ministers. So it'll be more rooted in the authentic relating activities that I've been bringing to Psanctuary and utilizing those to learn communication skills and mindfulness skills, touching base with ourselves and sharing with others in our community. Whereas the friends and family, I won't say that again, but just a different focus, but both integrating in different ways.
Great. Thank you.
And it is 3:00. So I just saw the time. I don't want to go over here. I do want to answer one last question. Randy said, will we have access to a pre-ceremony questionnaire?
Seemed like that was on the heels of you saying that we were going to be doing the playbook, which I think is a great idea, that part of our playbook has a questionnaire for ministers to, so I think that's something that would be easily incorporated into that playbook, Randy.
Yeah, I will say Debbie does have a pre-ceremony questionnaire in the Sacred Passage program, because there are usually a lot more considerations for folks who have life-threatening diagnoses to really cover the bases before you hold space for them. So she does have one in there. And yeah, in the playbook, there'll be something like that. There's a lot of information. It's not directed into a questionnaire specifically, but there's a whole lot of information on preparation for a ceremony in the Friends and Family program. Yeah. Okay, so it's 3:02. I'm going to go ahead and close us out. If you have any other questions, please reach out. There are no silly questions or trivial questions. Michael, I think you said trivial. So email us info@sanctuary.org or message us on Discord is the best way. I'm wishing you all a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Good to see y'all.
Thank you.